So the daily mobility routine is a great way to assess the body through movements. So the squat position is very important for all of us. The body evolved to get into this position. So having good ankle flexibility, looking at the ankles when you're doing this, feeling it from left to right, really important. If it's tight through there, getting a massage ball in there, using the band wraps on the ankles really helps open those up. They do take time. For a lot of people they're really tight. So if you can't get the knee forward over the ankle, then you're going to find it hard to get down and it's going to push you back. The other one we're going into is the knee, those deep knee bends. So obviously if you're quite tight there and your knees are really uncomfortable, just kind of coming up that and working your way down over time. Once that range of motion opens up, the body will respond over time. You just got to give it time. We're doing the band wraps on the knees to help with that, and all the foam rolling through the thighs to try and loosen that up will help a lot. Then you've got the adductors and the hips, so being able to get deep down in there. Ideally you want to be able to get nice and deep and drive those knees forward to get more vertical in the spine for front squatting, back squatting, overhead squatting. But moving around in it as well to really try and be comfortable in there. It shouldn't be so uncomfortable that you get down there and you're holding your breath and really stressing yourself out trying to be that deep. So you might find working this is something that you're more willing to do on a daily basis, so it just feels better. Then we've got the butterfly stretching. So here, just kind of working side to side. I've got my left knee, I feel a little bit sometimes when I do this, so some days I just don't push it as much, depends on what leg work I've done, and it just feels a little bit off in this position sometimes. So today it's feeling great. Just trying to work all different positions, keeping it safe. Then doing the single leg side split. So working on one of them, getting the lower back mobilized, hitting all those different lines. Doing the other side. Works quite well. Open up your obliques, lats, back. Once you kind of work those, then going into the double leg. This takes time, so you don't want to rush. If you find that you're really kind of like this, then just stay behind and work the front of the hips and just work it from here. If you're getting a stretch and you're mobilizing, you're working, it's not about hitting this ideal angle, it's about working with your tissues and where they're at and gradually improving them. So I've worked a lot at this over time, so it's quite flexible. So I can get, straight away, 6 a.m. or before, I can go quite deep. But that's because I do it all the time and do it every day, so it gets easier. By just making it part of, the way that my body moves all the time. And that's why you want to do these all the time, not just once a day, but throughout the day. Just getting, especially the deep squat bend and the kind of lunge stretch position are the basics. Just so your body allows for those positions to be more natural. If you want to work on the leg lifts in that to make it active, get that active control. They will cramp a little bit at the beginning, but as you get more flexible, that'll get better. And you can hit all different angles, working your legs back together as well to get a better pancake, better control. And then here, again, if you're really rounded out and your hamstrings are super tight, just come behind and try and tilt the pelvis forward. If you've got more range, use it. I like working side to side, just feeling those different lines open up and feel that stretch, the neural kind of stretch all the way right up into here, but not forcing it, just working with it, feeling that. Pointing the toes, I use my hands to pull them under to try and facilitate a better toe point, make that press handstand better, really trying to push up overhead. And then doing the lifts, so you might come back more and work your way with single legs. So the other leg helps a little bit by pushing down. Double legs are pretty nasty. Cold cramp there. Make sure you keep your magnesium levels up. I usually have around 3 cups a day, about 150, 200 milligrams each on training days. I find I need quite a lot, especially if you're doing ketogenic, intermittent fasting. You find your requirements are increase if you're not having as much carbohydrate, especially initially in the changeover. And then I just keep my sodium levels up, having Celtic sea salt, having about, most days at least, kind of 2 tablespoons, and that's accumulated throughout the whole day, including my food and everything. But before and after a workout, I'll have at least half a teaspoon, and that really helps. And then potassium, I just have, you know, a full avocado every day. If I don't do that, I've got some potassium supplement at home that I'll have as well. Really simple way to just keep the electrolyte balance, keep the mineral levels up so you don't cramp. But magnesium's a big one. You've got to work out which versions work well for you. I use iHerb to purchase stuff, which is much cheaper. I just got the Doctor's Best one, 240 caps. It's like under $20. And it's got the TRACCS formula, so it's got the chelated glycinate. I find that works quite well for me, but you've got to work out what works for you. With this one, you're just getting that internal external rotation in the hip, and then you saw me reaching it around as well. It's nice to get that nice position, and then from there you can take it onto your back. These are really cool. The floor flows really mobilize the hips and the spine, so you got it there. Then you turn the head the opposite way, trying to get the inside of that knee down, and then from here you've got the shoulder and the spine mobilization. So in this position here, my head's looking back the opposite way, looking straight down, then looking up and over. Then my hips will turn right around. It's such a nice release, and just to get that flow and just keep it going, breathing in, out, breathe in. It's beautiful. Then the wrist work, you want to make sure you really keep your wrists healthy if you want to improve your handstands, and just, you know, upper body loading in general, so just general health. So they're coming over, working towards locking the elbows, getting more angle over the wrist, more wrist extension. This one coming back on them, then here coming back on them, and then turning in. So the 4 different ones. If you're a bit tighter, you might want to work it a little bit more. You know, work towards locking the elbows out, don't force it too much. Then the wrist strengthening, just hitting these and gradually putting more weight into the hands. It is easy to kind of get in the habit of just going through it, and that's not a bad thing, at least you're doing it, but really trying to be conscious in it, really feel all those muscles working, so that way you take more load through the wrist, because it's usually, for people's consistency and their practice with handstands, is a limiting factor, because we haven't been walking around on our hands. We stopped doing that as an evolutionary process and started using more tools. So hands and wrist strength to ankle strength is kind of not as ideal for handstands, but you work on it, align it, and it's fine. So then doing these guys, getting stronger there, and then the fourth one is the front to back. Some people, their wrists really bad, just doing a high rep dumbbell versions like that as well, just hitting some open chain, whereas when I'm doing this, my body won't moving over the wrist, it's closed chain. Then going into flexion extension of the spine, exhaling, inhaling, arching, exhaling, flexing. You can do the side ones, rotational, quite nice too. The reach throughs using the breath. Just got to feel your body on the day and work with it. These next ones, the 3D on a hip mode, I really like these, going from the adductor, just even if you do the simple version from the adductor into the hip flexor, into the lateral hip, just really gapping the front of the hip and rotating around, all the way to the hamstring, back around to the hamstring. It's quite nice. Doing that on both sides. Really nice there, really gap it out, getting that kind of deep squat position on the front leg and that deep lunging, lateral lunge, kind of crossover lunge. Then you can go around to that hamstring, around to that hamstring. Quite nice. Then doing some extension traction. So lengthening the spine, not rushing to come up into extension, but lengthening the spine. So you're gapping each segment, opening up each forearm, coming back into a nice flexed, deep stretch, rocking side to side, hitting different angles. Then coming up into a hip flexor stretch. Breathing in, reaching up, drive the hips forward, just make that more dynamic. Reaching around, finding where you're tight, tucking that pelvis under. So if you've got more time, you just do more reps and make it nice and smooth. See matches, just got to find where it's tight. Just open that up. And that'll integrate into all the different kind of acrobatic movements and different handstand shapes. But just really getting a sense of where that's at on the day. Then I like to go in a deep squat. Do my ankles there, so it's a deep squat but a close stance, and then into the hamstrings, pump the legs. If you're really tight there, just put your hands up on the knees, so that way you're focusing on, getting it into the hamstring, not too much of the lower back. There I like to traction the spine out, head hang down, get a bit of neck traction. It's quite nice. Pulling yourself in, use the breath. Exhale into that really nice full pipe. Come up one segment at a time. Like to do a bit of ankle work stuff every day, so some calf raises. Just like with the feet, with the hands, doing those. Lateral, keeping those healthy. Internal, turn that, internal, external. And you've got inversion, eversion, working that. Toe crunches. These are really good to keep all the plantar fascia, the muscles through the feet really healthy, keeping control through there, strengthen that arch. So ankle circles, you're moving right around, just getting a couple of reps each way, really trying to feel that full range of motion. Just feeling any tight spots through there, especially if you've rolled your ankles in the past or damaged them, and just trying to facilitate that, not aggravate it. And doing the knees, which also kind of goes over into the ankles as well. Feeling them. If you've got any kind of meniscal or cartilage damage, being careful and mindful of that, but always trying to nourish it and hit those different angles. Then you're going into the hips, so driving the hips to the side, to the front, opening up the front of the hips, lateral hip, back of the hips, back the other way. That. And the lower back coming down, rounding out, coming to the side. This one's the same as the rotation, hang standing, but just be super mindful, feel those obliques open up, opening up through the front, opening up through the lateral part, using the breath there. You can do the hips, so you're stabilizing on one leg and mobilizing the leg that you're circling around, so out, out, and then in. It's nice, just get a feel of what's going on the inside of the hip. Then from there, you've got the lower rib circles. Turn one way, other way, really try and feel that spine, what's going on there. So even left to right, sternum circles. Sternum right back, hollowing to the side, right forward, arching, other side, working left to right. Then you've got the neck circles. Again, be really careful, especially in flexion. Lateral in and here. Into the back. Keep clicking and popping, really making sure that you're getting enough bone broth every day, getting that collagen. I just make up a big batch every 2 weeks, like in the video that's online. So I've always got that in the fridge, and I just have a cup or two with my meal. I might even put it in if it's a stir fry and have it like a soup type deal. But it's a very simple, great way to kind of make sure you're getting your nutrients on a regular basis. Otherwise, you might want to get some type of, hydrolysate, collagen type of supplement. But getting vitamin D K2, the Thorn one is the one I use, really good. The Doctor's Best magnesium, what I use as well. And getting that vitamin D K2, if you're getting good quality grass-fed butter, getting good animal fats from animals out on pasture, all of those things are going to help. The other one as well is the cod liver oil. I use the Rosita one, the filtered one. There's also the fermented ones as well, the green pastures ones, which are really cool. But yeah, just trying to make sure you're getting those nutrients in on a daily basis, so that way your body is really healthy and all your tissues are recovering and always improving with quality. A lot of people are very depleted, especially if you like training hard and you got a lot of stress in your life. So the next one after that, you're going to project the head forward and back. And then left and right is the next one. This one, you can use the mirror. Just bring the forehead and the cheekbone across to the finger and the thumb. And trying to really get the spine, the cranium to move laterally and shift that way. Then you join it together. Project it forward, laterally, retract. So with that protraction, lateral deviation, retraction, lateral deviation, going left to right to get that control. The shoulder girdles, really opening up those. Opening up the chest, retracting and protracting. Elevating the scaps there, depressing them there, getting both ways, integrating the elbows and the wrists. Then you've got the spinal waves, which are quite nice. So I like working on these all the time. So first one, I'm flexing down, internally rotating, keeping that in range, externally rotating, extending, breathing in. Then you can make it more of a ripple, so it goes through the spine, through that chain, through that wave going down. Then you've got the whip, so trail with the head, inhale, exhale, then a ripple style of it. Funky, but really good to feel that wave and whip going through the spine. Lateral wave, leading with the head, drawing an infinity symbol with the head. Getting that nice kind of sperm action. Reptilian, and you get the nice lateral tree swing in the wind. Fishtailing. Feel really good too. So just working on that, just getting to know your own body, but the basic ones I like people to get every day, no matter what, is a squat. Working on the bend, so an easy way to make that a bit easier, hands on the knees, pinching through there, and then a lunge stretch. Those three every day as your basic plus a hang will really do so much for you. And you want to make them practical as part of your working day, so you're getting up through the day and just doing that, and that could be, whether it's actually, those three are actually exercises, whether it's, you're actually doing that squat and just holding for a couple of, seconds there, 10 seconds there, getting that stretch while you're actually just doing the movement as a workout if you push for time. Same as the lunge, you might just lunge down and up, and then just hold at the bottom, drop the knee, go into a bit of a stretch, same as the bend, deadlift. And then you might just hold at the bottom, get a bit of a stretch there, depending on your range. I like people to get to at least kind of 90 before they round out the back and the hamstring work. Obviously you want to still get flexion extension in your spine regardless of hamstring length. But if you're really focusing on the hamstring in this, then just get to at least there before you start to kind of round out with it. Because otherwise you can be really tight in the hamstring but really overflex the lumbar spine. And then your other stretch is your daily, just hanging. If you don't have anything to kind of hang off like that, tractioning back off something like this works really well. Just a handrail or whatever. Then you can get those hamstrings, really open up those lats and get a better overhead position, better handstand, which is always cool. So get into it, really learn to self-assess your body, work on it. If you've got questions with any of the different positions, just shoot me a video of that part of it. The other one I like to see is the sped up version of that whole routine. So just, you know, time it in whatever you need to make the video no longer than a minute. That way you can pop it on Instagram as well. But for yourself, to promote yourself, if you're a coach and trainer. But also too, that's a way I can kind of look at how you're putting that whole routine together and where the kind of imbalances are and things that you can work on. But definitely, you know, I'm here to coach you. So submit some videos, you know, let me know. I don't like these long email questions with the life story that take me half an hour to read. It isn't going to facilitate the change that you're after, and I don't have the time to kind of go through that. Whereas short videos work really well, and you know, like I say, a picture says 1,000 words, a video says even more, and I can see a lot just from my experience. And the whole point of the Origin of Energy online is to make it like you're training here. And then definitely, if you do want more private coaching, you can do the Skype sessions online as well. But you know, try and exhaust, you know, the lifestyle page. It's on the website originofenergy.com, and go through all those points on there and start living those. And if you're getting the monthly emails, and you're getting, you know, all my kind of recommended reading and study, just get into that. Just make your lifestyle really healthy, and then work with me. You know, make it happen, because you can. Enjoy, guys.